I'm Cara Brookins, an author and a professional speaker. I have 4 kids, and we built a 3,500 square foot house by watching YouTube videos. I grew up in Tomah, Wisconsin with parents who were huge DIYers, and they taught me that you could do absolutely anything if you tried. A big part of any kind of a DIY mindset is this idea that if I dive in, I can figure it out. So I did that with every single part of my life, from becoming a software developer without having a degree in software development, with learning to write books, and ultimately building a house with my kids by watching YouTube videos. Building myself a house didn't just come from this idea of it would be a fun or cool thing to do. It came from a point of absolute desperation. I was a single mom, I had 4 children, and we had been through some really tough things as a family, so we were starting from rock bottom. And when I had the idea to build a house, it was this idea that it would solve 2 problems for us. First, it would give us a place to live. And it would give us something that my kids and I could do together, something to overcome the tough times that we've been through. Building a house wasn't my only option. I qualified to borrow enough money to buy a small house, but I had this idea that my kids deserved to have a big house that they were proud of. So this idea that I could take the same amount of money and just buy the supplies, we could have so much more. So I found an empty acre of land and I paid $20,000 cash. That was all of my savings. And then I qualified for a loan for $147,000 to buy all of the supplies. When we finished, it appraised for $425,000. When you think about DIYing any part of a project that you're working on, it doesn't have to be a house. Maybe you're an entrepreneur and you need a new website. You can DIY a small portion of it to save a little bit of money. Maybe you can't design your own website, but maybe you can mow your own lawn. I mow my own lawn because I know how much it would cost to hire somebody. And every time I mow it, I calculate that amount of money and I take it and I put it in something that I couldn't DIY as well. So I'll hire that graphic artist because I've got that cash to put in. You can kind of go about it in a way that still gives you an enormous cost savings and a lot more money to put toward the goal that you really want to hit. As parents, we work really hard to protect and shield our kids from tough things that are happening. There were so many things that happened in my life that I hid from my children. And it wasn't until we were out here on a construction site, elbow to elbow, that we started talking about them, and I realized how much they knew and how much more they needed to know in order to process and move forward in their lives. So opening the lines of communication changed everything, not just for us as a family, but it changed the way that they interact in the world. I am inspired by people who do something that at first glance looks impossible for them. Looking at those 4 small kids when we started building this house, and to see where they are now, how big and fearless they are, there's nothing I could be more proud of. The next steps for me, my 9th book is coming out next year, and it is all about how to get unstuck. And of course, I'm on stages all over the world talking about resilience, and I couldn't be more excited about sharing some really powerful tips on how to get moving.